Hi, it's So Unicornish, and I'm here to show you some of my things that I've crocheted lately over the past several months. I've done some hats, I've done some amigurumi, and we'll just get into that. I have a list here of all the patterns that I did and who did them, where they're from. Some of them are from YouTube. I found out in my last video that I can't actually put links yet to outside websites. I can link internally to YouTube, so the YouTube links will be there, but the other links might not be there until I get approved for that. So first I wanted to show you my Easy Crochet Cat Ear Beanie, and this is by Sherilyn Q on YouTube, and that's what I'm wearing now, and it's just a flat panel, and the ears stick off because the rows go up and down when you finish sewing it together. Some of the other cat ear beanies I saw, the ridges go from side to side, and the ears kind of go like that instead. But if you push these down, they look pretty cute. I like how it turned out. And I want to try to make some ear hats for our nieces. So shout out to them, Aubrey and Akira. And maybe we'll get some hats done for them. Next, I want to show you my, see what it's called here, extended cat ear beanie. I'll put it on real quick. And this was a YouTube tutorial, and the ears turned out a lot bigger than I thought they would. On camera, they don't really look as big as they do in person. In person, they look really huge. And the other day, I was going to Walmart and I had this on where I was just wearing it around the house, and I went out in it, and people were like, "Oh, pointing at me," and I was like, "What's going on?" And I forgot that I had these huge ears on, so that was kind of funny. But it's actually, this is a YouTube tutorial. It's a long title. It's crochet tutorial, crochet extended cat ear beanie, crochet cat beanie, crochet bunny beanie, and that's by Crochet Space Girl. And it was a pretty easy tutorial. I connected the ears differently than they did in the tutorial. I sewed them through inside out. But other than connecting the ears, it was all very easy. Just double crochet round and round in a spiral, and then you increase for the ears. So, and you attach the ears separately. Let's see, what's next? Oh, okay. So my crochet do-rags. This was also a YouTube tutorial, and they're like the do-rags head wraps. And you've got the tie here. It's a very long tie, and it's just a mesh stitch, and the seams at the top. And I had to shave my head because I'm losing my hair, and it just was easier to have it shaved. And so I've been looking for things to wear to feel like I've got something going on. And this wrapped up into like a bun in the back, and kind of looks like a little bun sticking off. And I thought that would be nice to have because my hair is shaved. And here's the other one. And I would say my favorite stitch to do is like a V-stitch or a mesh stitch, because I can just really mindlessly crochet that without thinking, and it's just relaxing because it builds up really fast because it's, got the gaps in it. But I really enjoyed that, and that tutorial it's called a Crotorial, crochet unisex do-rag / head wrap, one panel, no seam, and that's by Samantha on YouTube. And those were pretty fun. Like I get like into patterns, and then sometimes I want to just keep making them, even though what am I going to do with like a million of the same thing? And so I stopped, but I do have a request. Someone wants me to make one for them, so I'll have to get the yarn for that project soon. Next is my alien amigurumi, and this is by Carolyn Brody on Ravelry. And this guy, I'm not very good at like figuring out how big an amigurumi is going to be when I look at the pattern. So this guy turned out a lot bigger than I thought it would. And I was playing yarn chicken with this green because I had a boneless skein of yarn and it was not much left, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that I can make it with this. But I gave him a shirt which had in the pattern, and that kind of saved me on some of the yarn. So I even gave him long sleeves, and I made it. I won yarn chicken. But this is, what's it called? Not neon stripe, bright stripe. And then this is a really old, like I think it was called glowworm, and a very old yarn, red heart yarn. But when I put his eyes on, they're just like ovals that you crochet. I kind of put him up too high. I think he's supposed to have like more of a big forehead. So he kind of looks more like a bug than an alien. But oh well. Putting together amigurumi can be challenging sometimes because one like centimeter off and everything looks different than it should. So I still struggle with that. But oh, I also made his legs so he could sit. In the pattern, they had you sewing the legs permanently sitting down, but I made him so he could stand or sit down because I like that better for putting them on the shelf. I just think it's cute so they can like walk around. So that pattern is Alien by Carolyn Brody on Ravelry. And they're also screening Sweet Oddity Art, which I've done a few patterns by them, and I really like their patterns. They're really good, and they have a lot of free cute patterns you can get. Sorry, I had to have a little pause break there. But yeah, I'll put the links that I can in the description. So then I discovered Ribbler I was watching Bella's Arts and Crafts on YouTube, and they talked a lot about Ribbler and that there's free patterns on there. So I got an account on Ribbler and started finding free patterns on Ribbler. And it's kind of like Ravelry, except the patterns are like interactive digital patterns that are just on the internet. So I don't think if you have an internet connection, you're not going to be able to use them. But you can mark off your rows and everything straight off the pattern on the website. So it's not a PDF that you download, but it's just straight off the website. But I've been using it quite a bit, and it's really fun. So this is a pattern from Ribbler called Chicken and Egg Amigurumi. And I thought, oh, I'll try this one. It looks pretty simple, and I think it looks like a duck. So, my favorite thing is the beak. It's just really funny, and it was really simple pattern. I had a little confusion on making the cracks in the egg, which is basically like a shell stitch, but I was just getting a little confused. I can get confused when there's a lot of things to do and within the one stitch or a lot of repeats. So, but I did it. It looks good. Um, it looks a little different from the original picture of the designers, but I still think it's really cute. It's chicken and egg amigurumi pattern, by Laura's Crafted Collectibles, and that's on Ribbler, which is spelled Ribbler. But yeah, this was a very fun project because it's just straight up and down. Not many parts to sew on. And next is Delilah the Dragon. And Delilah the Dragon was also a free pattern on Ribbler. I had a little trouble with this pattern because there was like a mistake. I was doing the head and I got down to the neck and everything was fine. And then right about here, the pattern just had an error. And then it had in the next row another error and another error. And I can handle one error as long as the rest of the pattern goes along how it should, because I can usually figure out from the next row what to do. But this pattern had a mess up continually. So actually my husband helped me figure out how to like finish off his body, the body. And then I started doing the nose. And I couldn't, my nose was not coming out properly. So I made this nose on my own, completely by myself. It's just a circle, and then I did some bobble stitches for some nostrils. And I guess sometimes when things mess up and you have to like figure it out yourself, I was pretty proud that I was able to make a cute little nose all by myself, because I'm not like a designer or anything. I just follow patterns, but I was like, hey, it turned out pretty cute. So then I was like gonna do the spikes, and I was confused on the spikes. I just was having a lot of trouble with this pattern, and I made my own spikes too, if you can see. And then these horns were off a separate tutorial on YouTube that I did. I did the ears from a whole nother pattern. It just went off the rails, and the Delilah the Dragon pattern, the only thing that is here that is from that pattern on Ribbler is the head, just the circle of the head. The tail, I was like, I'll give it another try. I'll try the tail part of this Delilah the Dragon pattern. And there was another error, and I was like, I don't know what to do. So I just made a tube. And then, so yeah, so the horns, right? These horns are from Loops and Knots Crochet on YouTube. And they have a tutorial on how to do these horns. And then the wings I found on Rhonda Butler. I did the arms and the legs actually are from Rhonda Butler's YouTube, off of a dragon that she made. And that was quite the adventure with this dragon. Got it done. I really like how it turned out. But I will say, there's a thing with like I buy Red Heart yarn, and because it's just all uniform for the most part, and it makes the amigurumi consistent. But sometimes like I get a Red Heart yarn ball and it's just so rough and so almost like sticky. I used this bright stripe and it was so difficult to do. My hands were hurting and my wrists, my thumb was hurting, everything. It just felt like I was fighting that yarn trying to do this amigurumi. So I don't know, I'm trying to pay attention more when I pick up yarn when it's Red Heart, that it's soft and it's not weird like that. I don't know what that's all about. It seems to be with a lot of these brighter dyed yarns. So, something to think about. But so yeah, that if you want to check out the pattern, it's Delilah the Dragon by Lily Pad Crochet and Yarn Arts, and that's on Ribbler. Lots of people did this pattern and it looked like the picture. I don't know what my deal was. It might have, oh, smacking my mic. I might have just gotten confused because I can get confused. So that's that one. Next we have Buddy Bear 2.0. And this is by Craftably Ever After on YouTube. They also have a blog. This is a free pattern. I did this pattern one other time and I gave them away to my therapist. But so I wanted to make another one, and this is how it turned out. The tail is not part of the pattern. I did that myself because I wanted him to have a tail. But at this point, I got me some noses, and he's doing like a thing with his face that's like a little weird because the nose, it was too big to put in the muzzle, but I did it anyways. So he looks like he's doing that like thing that the Muppets used to do, like a and then his eyes are really little. I got those off of AliExpress. But this is a really simple pattern. I enjoy doing it. This is the pattern I first learned how to connect two legs together and work up. And it explained that very easily and simple. Definitely recommend this pattern. And that's Buddy Bear. Okay. So this next one was a gift for my husband. And it's a snail. And it's the pattern's called Snailed It. And it's by crochet underscore crochet, so CROCHEY, and it's by rezz.crochet, and that's on Instagram, so you can find this free pattern on Instagram. And it's just a simple little snail, but he wears this shell as a backpack, so you can take it off and on. But I think because I did this in worsted weight yarn and not plush yarn, it kind of ended up hard to put the backpack on and off. So I even made this little tie so it didn't fall off, because like once it's on there, it's like a mess to try to take on and off. So I'll have to make another one in a different type of yarn at some point maybe. But here he is. I put the eyes on wrong. So like the eyes were supposed to be here in the front, and I got confused and I put them back here. So he just kind of looks up into the sky a little bit. And then next, oh yeah, so I told you, yeah, what that pattern was. Next is Beedrill, which is another present for my husband. And it's a Pokemon. And this is, it's called number 015 Beedrill Pokemon by Christian B, or their screen name is CDB Vulpix, and that's on Ravelry, a free pattern on Ravelry. They have a lot of Pokemon patterns, and there's so many I want to do. It's ridiculous. I did Litten before, but this one was really good. And like, again, I thought this doll was going to be a lot bigger, but it turned out kind of small compared to what I thought it was. But I thought it was a really good pattern. Looks just like the Pokemon. And I put wire in the arms and legs so you can kind of pose a little bit. And felt for the eyes. The only thing I left out was the wings had lines like of embroidery, but didn't know how to do it to make it look nice, so we've left that off. And that's Beedrill. And then we have one last amigurumi that I've done. It's called the Merchant Rat. And this one I'm really excited about. I saved it for last. You turn them around. And this pattern, it's called Merchant Rat by Lexa Lovely Crafts on Ribbler. This was a free pattern on Ribbler. This person has a ton of these like creatures with jobs, and they have little outfits, and you can make everything that goes with them. And I was just really impressed by this pattern because I learned a lot doing this pattern. I You kind of get to a point where you think, it's really, I've done a lot of techniques. There's probably nothing, nothing that's going to surprise me at this point. And then through this pattern, I was like, oh, there's several things I did, techniques that were different and I hadn't done yet. So I learned a little bit and I was like, oh, that's really cool for a free pattern. And it was very well written and had a lot of pictures to go along with it. But so it's got this little hat, little beret, and it's a rat. And the only thing I did different was I put the eyes more towards the front, whereas they had the eyes to the sides, more towards the sides here. So there's this little beret. This was really fun to make. And then you have a scarf, which is just like a granny triangle. Now I get tickled by little things like this, but I was so tickled that I had this button that matched exactly to his shirt because that wasn't planned. And I was like, oh my gosh, I showed my husband, I was like, this button matches exactly. And I was like, really excited about that. But then he's got a shirt, his pants, and a little bag that he carries. And his tail was really interestingly made too, to where it goes from thicker to thinner, like a real rat tail, which I used to have pet rats. So, um, you know, I I think rats are super cute, so I got excited about how this tail was made. But and then it had little toes. Let me see if you can see. They're kind of long toes. You could do bobble toes or these longer toes. It gave you the option to do either, which I thought was really cool. And then I have just a little pink nose. But I really like this pattern. Saved it for last because I was very impressed with it and the fact that there's actually uh, a lot of different creatures that they have. You can get them in bundles on Ribbler and they're all free. Like I said, that's Lexa Lovely Crafts on Ribbler. The only thing I find is I yarn under. Well, I think you'd call it yarn under for amigurumi so that I don't get holes in my amigurumi. But when you clothes, when you yarn under, your amigurumi end up a little smaller. So I have to take that into account and make sure that I make the clothes a little bit tighter and smaller so that they fit. So that's it. That's all of my creations for right now. Um, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and thank you if you hit like or comment. I really enjoy that, and I thank you for that a lot. Um, got some shout outs. I've been watching Bella's Arts and Crafts on YouTube. She makes a lot of really cute stuff. She's really fun to watch. I watch her in the evenings. I've been binge watching all her videos, so go check her out. And Lady Simone, the Lady of Crochet, she gave me a shout out, and I wanted to say thank you for that. That was so sweet. Enjoy your lives, and I can't wait to see you next time. So everybody have fun out there, keep crocheting, and I'll see you next time. Bye.